We have been discussing the Bhagavad Sandarbha 79th anuccheda. In this anuccheda, the last 14 shlokas of the third canto, chapter 15, from the episode of the four Kumaras entering Vaikunta and being stopped by Jaya and Vijay. These 14 shlokas are discussed by Jiva Goswami in detail. And in these shlokas, we see that how the four Kumaras who are who are actually impersonalists before, how they became transformed, how they became pure devotees by the influence of the Supreme Lord. So this episode shows that Vaikunta, the Supreme Lord's paraphernalia, his form, his qualities, all these things are transcendental. Otherwise, the four Kumaras who are already in the liberated platform, who are Brahman realized, they would not have got astonished by the transcendental qualities and the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the episode we are discussing. So we are discussed till the 79.1 2, 3 we discussed, 4 and also 5. So 1 minute, I'll just check it till what we have discussed. One, two, and then till 5, 79.5. We'll discuss on the 79.6. What is the shloka? This is the shloka, and this is the 3.15.42. Atropasrishtam iti chotsmitam indira. Okay. This is the shloka. Atropasrishtam iti chotsmitam indiraya svanam dhiya virachitam. Somebody can repeat after me. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, you can repeat after me. Atropasrishtamiti chotsmitamiндiraयाः
अत्रोपसृष्टिम् इति चोतस्रिम् इति इन्द्रियाय
स्वाणां धिया विरचितं बहुसौष्ठवाढ्यम्
स्वानां धिया विरिचितं बहुसौष्ठवाड्यम्
मह्यं भवस्य भवतां च भजन्तमङ्गम्
मह्यं भवस्य भवतां च भजन्तमण्डम्
नेमुर्निरीक्ष्य न वितृप्तदृशो मुदा कैः
नेमुनिर्शिष्य न वितृप्तदृशो मुदाके
So here we see atropasrishtam iti chotsmita indiraya. Indira refers to God, Lakshmi, goddess of fortune. So atropasrishtam iti chotsmitam indiraya swanam dhiya virachitam bahusaushtavadyam. So we see that the exquisite beauty of the Lord, it created a doubt in the minds of the people. Na vitrupta drisho mudakai. The exquisite beauty of the Lord seemed to create a doubt in the minds of his devotees, who thought that the beauty of the Lord subdued the pride of the goddess of fortune. Atra upasrishtam iti chotsmitam indirayaha. When they saw the beauty of Narayana, they felt that the beauty of Narayana has defeated the pride of goddess of fortune as the most beautiful woman. Swanam diya virachitam bahu sauštavadyam. The Kumaras, their eyes were unsatiated. When they saw the beauty of the Lord, their eyes becoming unsated, they bowed their heads to Bhagavan in great bliss. They bowed down. Makhyam bhavasya bhavatam cha bhajantamangam nemuhu nirikshya na vitrupta drisho. Na vitrupta means with unsatiated eyes. Nemur nirikshya, and seeing the form, they bowed down. Muda kaihi. They bowed their hands to Bhagavan Muda kaihi in great bliss. That Bhagavan who had taken this form for my sake, Mahyam, for my sake, Brahmaji is saying that the Lord who had taken this form for my sake, and Mahyam Bhavasya, and for Lord Shiva, and Bhavatam, and for all of you gods. Brahma is narrating this to Devatas. Brahma is narrating the entire episode to Devatas. Therefore, he is saying, who had taken this form for my sake and for Shiva and for all you gods. For all you gods, devotees, like myself. So, Tatropasrishtam iti chotsmitam indiraya swanam diya virachitam bahu sauštamadyam. So when they saw the beauty of the Lord, they felt that it has defeated the beauty of the goddess of fortune. Like that, the devotees started thinking. And then the four Kumaras, they bowed down their heads. So here we see Jiva Goswami's commentary, explanation of the shloka. Tadevam परिच्छदादीनामपि तादृशं वर्णयित्वा पुनस् तस्यैव अतिमनोहरत्वमाह atropasrishtam. So the word atropasrishtam explains the great beauty of the form of the Lord. This means that he chooses to make himself visible to people like us, as Yamunacharya describes in his stotra ratra. He manifests his form for the sake of his devotees like myself. This means that he chooses to make himself visible to people like us. Tadevam parichadadinamapi tadrisham varnayitva punastasyaiva atimanoharattvamaha. Is it the same? This one? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Here. So, after explaining the transcendental nature of even the paraphernalia of the Lord, Parichadadina, Brahma again describes his exquisite loveliness in this verse. The phrase Utsmitam Indiraya means Lakshmi's pride. What was Lakshmi's pride? Lakshmi thought that I am the most beautiful woman. Indiraya, Utsmitam means Garvaha. Utsmitam means Garvaha. Atra Bhagavati Upasrishtamasya. Atropasrishtam. Atra Bhagavati Upasrishtamasya Madanarbuda Sundara Kantasya Nityena Labena Nityameva Adhikam Avir Bhavitamiti Tadiyanam Diya Vitarkitam. Atra Bhagavati Upasrishtamasya Madanarbuda Sundara Kantasya Nityena Lahabena Nityamevadikam Avirbhavitamiti Tadiyanam Diya Vitarkitam. The Lord's devotees conjectured that Lakshmi is an eternal association with the Lord, her husband, whose beauty exceeds that of billions of cupids. You see the word Madana Arbuda Sundara Kantasya. Madana Arbuda. Madana means Cupid. Arbuda means millions. Madana Arbuda Sundara Kantasya Nityena Labena. So Bhagavan's beauty exceeds the beauty of millions of cupids. And therefore, Lakshmi is in eternal association with the Lord, her husband, whose beauty exceeds that of billions of cupids. And therefore, she feels excessive pride for him. The reason for this is expressed in the statement that he has exquisite beauty, Bahu Saushta Vadyam, which is to say that he is eternally endowed with the opulence of his unlimited forms, nature, attributes, and so on. So, Nityameva Adhika Avirbhavitamiti Tadiyanam Dhiya Vitarkitam. Atra Hetuhu Bahu Saushta Ananta Swarupa Rupa Guna Sampadbir Yuktam Bahu Saundarya Sampannamiti. So Bahu Saushta that word says that the Lord has exquisite beauty. That means he is eternally endowed with his unlimited form, nature, attributes, and so on. Now there is a doubt which is raised. The word Nanu means there is a doubt. Nanu evam bhutasya lakshmya api rahasya mahanidhi rupasya paramavastunah katam prakashah sambhavati ityata aha mahyam iti. A doubt may be raised if the Lord is of this nature, that is Bahu Saushta Madhyam, he has exquisite beauty and is eternally endowed with all these qualities. If the Lord is of this nature, in other words, if he is the supreme existent and the most highly concealed, unfathomable treasure, then how can he become manifest to others, even through the agency of Lakshmi? How can he become manifest to others? Katam prakashah sambhavati ityata aha mahyamiti. If the Lord is having such exquisite beauty, how is it that he becomes manifest to others? So that is answered in the word mahyam in the third line. मदादीनां भक्तानां कृते अंगम भजन्तं मूर्ति प्रकटयन्तं अस्मद् विषयकम अंगीकारम भजन्तं इत्यर्थः. So this is answered in the third quarter of the verse, beginning with the word Mahyam. So he manifests his form for the sake of his devotee like myself. Mahyam Bhavasya Bhavatam. The Lord manifests his form for the sake of devotees like myself. This means that he chooses to make himself visible to people like us. So then Jiva Goswami quotes a shloka from Yamunacharya's Stotra Ratna. उल्लंघित त्रिविध सीम समातिशाय संभावनम तव परि व्रडिम स्वभावम माया बलेन भवतापि निगुह्यमाणं पश्यन्ति केचिदनिशं त्वदनन्यभावाः. So Sotraratna Yamunacharya says that, O Lord, your most influential and powerful nature is beyond the limits of the three gunas. And there is no object that can equal or excel it. Although you keep it concealed by your Maya, yet some unalloyed devotees always see that form. Ullangita Trivida Seema Sama Atishaya Sambhavanam Tava Parivradi Masvabhavam Maya Balena Bhavatapi Niguhyamanam Pashyanti Kechidanisham Tvadananya Bhava. Some pure devotees, although your form so exalted, no form is equal to it. Although you keep yourself concealed by your form, but still some pure devotees see that form. Similarly, in this shloka, although the Bhagavan's form has such exquisite beauty, Bahu Saushta Vadyam, it cannot be easily seen by anybody, but still, out of his causeless mercy, Bhagavan reveals his forms to his pure devotees. So, Bhaktireva Yenam Nayati, Bhaktireva Yenam Darshayati, Bhaktire Vainam Nayati, Bhaktire Vainam Darshayati. This is Brahma Sutra. Only by bhakti one can attain the Supreme Lord. Ityadi Shrutehe. So, Matara Shruti quoted by Sri Madhvacharya in his commentary to Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra 3.3.54, in that Madhvacharya is quoting a particular Shruti Vakya. Only devotion carries one to the Lord. Only devotion reveals him. Bhakti Re Vainam Nayati, Bhakti Re Vainam Darshayati, Brahma Sutra, Madhva Bhashya, Dhruta Matara Shrutihi, Ityadi Shrutehe. Tata Bhutam, Tam Tamachakshate Nirikshya cha Mudakaihi Shirobir Nemuhu. Na Visheshena Tripta Drisho Netrani Yeshamte. So the Kumara saw the Lord with such attributes of the beauty. And after seeing, they deliberately bowed down their heads, but still their eyes remain unsatisfied. So usually for the impersonalists, they don't bow down to others because they see everyone as a Brahman. They see themselves as a Brahman, everything is a Brahman. They don't bow down to others. But here the Kumaras, they became so much affected by the Bhagavan's form that they gave up their notion of being attached to impersonal Brahman and they bowed down their heads, which is a very big thing. So Brahma again describes the matchless beauty of the Lord as perceived by the Kumaras. The words Utsmita and Upasprishta are understood differently by various commentators. So Sridhar Swami saw that the devotees thought that Lakshmi had become excessively proud because of her own beauty. But when she was placed next to the Lord, that pride was obscured or eclipsed. Vishwanath Chakravarti expands the same idea of Sridhar Swami. Lakshmi's pride in the thought that she alone was the source of all beauty was broken. But Jiva Goswami gives a different explanation from Sridhar Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti. Jiva Goswami says that Lakshmi's pride was not because of her own beauty. Lakshmi's pride was due to having such a wonderful husband as the Lord. That is why she was proud. Well, I am having such a husband whose beauty exceeds the beauty of millions of Cupid. That is the cause of Lakshmi's pride. So, Jiva Goswami takes the word Upasrishta as meaning Avir Bhavita, manifest, and not as destroyed. So, when we, according to Jiva Goswami and according to Sridhar Swami and Vishnu Chakravarti, Lakshmi thought herself to be the most beautiful person. And her beauty, her pride was destroyed by the beauty of the Supreme Lord. But according to Jiva Goswami, that Lakshmi was proud to have such a great husband as Narayana, whose beauty exceeded the beauty of millions of cupids. Bahu Saushtavadya means the beauty of his bodily limbs. One of the 64 qualities of Krishna is that Su Ramyang, or attractiveness of his limbs. So when the bodily limbs are exquisitely formed, it is known as attractiveness of the limbs. It means like every limb of the Supreme Lord, every limb of the Supreme Lord's body is so exquisite that it attracts everyone. Sometimes a person may be beautiful from an overall point of view, but individually, when you try to minutely look at the different bodily limbs, there may be different deficiencies. Sometimes a person's beauty, individually, when you look at the limbs, they may be very beautiful, but when you see the overall form of the Lord, overall form of that person, that may not look very appealing. It may not be very beautiful. But Krishna's beauty, individual limbs of Krishna's beauty is also exquisitely beautiful, and the overall form of Krishna is also exquisitely beautiful. So many times if we see any of the movie stars, when you see the individual limbs of the movie stars, it will appear very ordinary. But in the movie, they will give such a look by the different techniques that the person will appear so beautiful. And there are no wrinkles on the person. They will appear that as if there are no wrinkles. Although the person who is acting may be 73-year-old, like Rajinikanth, or any other movie star, actor or actress. So, seeing such beauty, the Kumaras fell on the ground to offer respect to the Lord out of joy. This also indicates that they gave up the concept of the supremacy of the impersonal Brahman. Because those who are impersonalists, they don't feel the need to offer respect to any distinct individual. But the Kumaras, they offered obeisances. The beauty of the Lord's body is so ravishing that the Kumaras were not satiated. Therefore, they repeatedly gazed at him. Avitripta Drisha. So, even Prabhupada, if you read Prabhupada's purport, Prabhupada has given a beautiful another translation to the shloka that Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam purport, the devotees, by their intelligence, they decorate the Lord in various ways. And they decorate the Lord so beautifully that the beauty of the Lord defeats the pride of the goddess of fortune as the most beautiful woman. So then Prabhupada says that in Vaikunta, the devotees want Narayan to be more beautiful than Lakshmi. But in Vrindavan, the devotees want Srimati Radharani to be more beautiful than Krishna. And because Krishna's quality is Bhakta Vatsala, he adjusts himself that in Vaikunta, the Lord is more beautiful than Lakshmi. In Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani is more beautiful than Krishna. In order to satisfy the desires of the Lord, Krishna manifests like that. So the Kumaras, this verse shows that how when they saw the beauty of the Lord, they actually bowed down to the Supreme Lord, and then they were not completely satisfied. Next part. Next is the very important shloka. Somebody can repeat after me. The shloka. Tasyaaravinda padaravinda.
तस्यारविन्दनयनस्य पदारविन्द
किञ्जल्कमिश्रतुलसी मकरन्दवायुः
किञ्जल्कमिश्रतुलसी मकरन्दवायुः
अन्तर्गतस्वविवरेण चकार तेषाम्
अन्तर्गतः स्वविवरेण चकार तेषाम्
संक्षोभमक्षरजुषामपि चित्ततन्वोः
संक्षोभमक्षरजुषामपि चित्ततन्वो.
The very important shloka. So when the air carrying the elixir of the tulasi mixed with the filaments of the lotus-eyed Lord's lotus feet entered within them through its own natural gateways, swavivarena, that is the nostrils. Sankshobam akshara jusham, sankshobam, they experienced a commotion. Sankshobam akshara jusham api chitta tanvoho, both in their mind and in the body, chitta tanvoho. Akshara jusham api, even though they were established in the bliss of the imperishable. Tasyaaravinda nayanasya padaravinda Kinjalka Mishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayuhu Sankshobam Akshara Jusham Apichit Sankshobam Akshara Jusham Apichitta Tanvo Tasyaravinda Nayanasya Padaravinda Kinjalka Mishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayuhu Antargatasva Vivarena Chakara Tesham Sankshobam Akshara Jusham Apichitta Tanvohu. Very important shloka. Sridhar Swami's commentary. Tika cha Swarupa Anandadapi Tesham Bhajananandam Adhikyam. That means Swarupananda is the bliss of impersonal realization. Higher than that is the Bhajanananda, the bliss in performing devotional service to Krishna. That is shown in this particular shloka. The bliss in devotional service to personality of Godhead is higher than the Brahmananda, Swarupananda. So tasya padaravinda kinjalkaihi kesharair mishra या तुलसी तस्या मकरन्देन युक्तो यो वायुः स्वविवरेण नासाच्छिद्रेण अक्षरजुषां ब्रह्मानंद सेविनामपि संक्षोभं चित्ते अतिहर्षं तणौ रोमाञ्चम् इत्येषा. So Bhajanananda is superior to the bliss of mere abidance in one's original state of unqualified being, Swarupananda. Bliss from devotional service is higher than the bliss from Kaivalya Mukti. So when the air mixed with the fragrance of the tulasi leaves, which is smeared with the filaments from the lotus feet of the Lord, entered through its own natural gateway, Swavivarena. That means that, namely the nostrils of the Kumaras, they experienced a sankshovam, commotion, chitta tanvoho, both in the mind as well as in the body. That means they manifested both in the mind, manifested as extreme joy, and in the body, that is their hair stood on end. Even though they were Akshara Jusham, even though they were related in the imperishable self. That means they were absorbed in the Brahman realization. And then further he is explaining. Atra Padayor Aravinda Kinjalka Mishra Ya Tulasi iti Vyakyeyam. It should be explained that the Tulasi leaves from his lotus feet were mixed with the lotus filaments. So Aravinda Kinjalka Tulasyav cha Tadanim Vanamala Stite Eva Nyeye. The lotus filaments and tulasi leaves were woven into the forest flower garland that the Lord was wearing at that time. So Lord was wearing a vanamala. In that lotus flowers were there and tulasi leaves were also there. So they were woven into the forest flower garland. So astu tavad bhagavad atma bhutanam tesham angopanganam teshu kshobakaritvam tat sambandhino vayorapiti bhavah. So we see that the main intent of the shloka is that what to speak of the bodily limbs of the Supreme Lord. Bodily limbs are the very part of the Bhagavan. But what to speak of the bodily limbs, even the air that contacted the bodily limbs, or the air that contacted the tulasi and the lotus flower which are placed in the bodily limbs, even that air had the power to cause a commotion in the Kumara's mind and the bodies. Even the air had the capacity to cause commotion. So therefore, Ramanuja, he mentions in his commentary, the Taittiriya Upanishad, Atra Shri Ramanuja Sharirake hi darshitamidam. Soshnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipaschita iti brahma vedana palam avagamayad vakyam parasya vipaschito brahmano gunanantyam braviti vipaschita brahmana saha sarvan kaman ashnute. In his commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, Ramanujacharya explains the passage. In the first verse of Vedanta Sutra, Ramanujacharya gives a passage from the Taittiriya Upanishad. The wise self enjoys everything desirable along with the all-knowing Brahman. So Ramanuja says that this statement, explaining the fruits of Brahman realization, speaks of the unlimited qualities of the Supreme Brahman. The wise person enjoys everything desirable along with the all-knowing Brahman. So Brahmano Gunan Anantyam Braviti Vipashchita Brahmana Saha Sarvan Kaman Ashnute. So Kamyanta iti Kamaha Kalyana Gunaha Parabrahmana Saha Tad Gunan Sarvan Ashnute Ityartah. Dahara Vidyayam Tasmin Yadantastad Anveshtavyam Itivad Gunapradanyam Vaktum Sakashabdaha iti. So Ramanuja says that the wise person enjoys everything desirable along with the all-knowing Brahman. The word Kama here means that all that is desirable, or in other words, auspicious qualities. The significance is that the liberated being enjoys all these qualities with the Supreme Brahman. That means these qualities of the Supreme Lord are spiritual, they are not material. They are not in Sattva Guna, they are in transcendental platform. The word Saha expresses the preeminence of these attributes. Just as they were similarly specified in the Dakara Vidya chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad. One should seek out that which is within the sky. So here we see the main point of the shloka is that even the air which has contacted the bodily limbs had the capacity to cause commotion in the mind as well as the body of the four Kumaras who are already situated in the Brahman realization. So that's what the commentary explains. Even the air that was in contact with tulasi and saffron touching his body created a turmoil in the bodies and minds of these Brahman realized beings. So this verse explains the pinnacle of the Lord's beauty. So the Kumaras, it is not that they were dreaming. They actually experienced a change in their heart. That is why api chitta tanvoho. So therefore, the Lord's body, according to Advaitavada doctrine, the Bhagavan's body is a result of a upadhi on the impersonal Brahman. When the impersonal Brahman is superimposed by upadhi, then the Bhagavan's body gets manifest. So, but that is refuted here. So Bhagavan's body was not a manifestation of some upadhi. Upadhi is a material imposition. So they say that when the upadhi in sattva guna, when it is imposed on the impersonal Brahman, then the Bhagavan's body appears. So that is refuted here. So it was not kind of any material imposition on the spirit. The main point is that if even the air in contact with the Lord's body indirectly made the Kumaras completely indifferent to the bliss of Brahman, then how much more blissful must the Lord's own form be? Sridhar Swami therefore says that this verse confirms that the bliss of bhakti is superior to that of Brahman realization. Swarupanandadapi tesham bhajananandadikyam. So Vishwanath Chakravarti expands on Srila Jiva Goswami's observation that what to speak of Lord's bodily limbs and parts, which constitute his very self. Even the air that contacted them had the power to cause a commotion in the Kumaras' minds and bodies. He says that the air simply contacted an object situated on just one of the Lord's limbs. But yet it created such a wonder and inundated the Kumaras with bliss. So one cannot imagine how much more bliss the Lord's body would produce. So one may say that, okay, it was improper for the Kumaras to intrude Vaikuntha. Similarly, it is improper for the air to intrude into the heart of the Kumaras. But the verse says that Swavivarena. Swavivarena means for the air, the nostril is a natural pathway. It's natural gateways. So therefore, no permission was required for the air to pass through the natural gateway, that is the nostril of the four Kumaras. And upon entering their bodies, the fragrant air, first it churned their hearts, and then it forcibly submerged them into a whirlpool of bliss. So they experience all the loving ecstatic symptoms, such as trembling, shedding tears. Sankshobham, the word Sankshobham shows that the Kumaras exhibited all the ecstatic symptoms, Ashta Satvika Vikara. Romancha, Shveda, Kampa, Ashru. So in this world, suppose when a country invades the enemy country, the first thing they would actually, when they invade the enemy country, they first arrest the country's leaders, and then they go on to subdue the people over there. So similarly, the air which entered through the Kumara's nostrils, first it conquered the Kumara's hearts, Chitta. And then, after causing a commotion in their heart, then it actually controlled then it went on to pervade all the senses of the Kumaras, and it created an upheaval in all the senses of the Kumaras. So in this shloka, the word Akshara Jusham Api is important, even though they were situated in the impersonal Brahman realization. So generally, such people, those who are situated in Brahman realization, it is not possible to unsettle their hearts, because they will be so equipoised. They will never become emotional. Especially none of the material sense objects can unsettle their hearts. So normally such Brahman realized beings, they display an absence of the taste of Bhakti Rasa. But this breeze coming from the Lord Narayan was so powerful that it completely captivated the hearts of the Kumaras. So that shows that even the breeze was saturated with Krishna's mercy. It bestows feelings of such incomparable bliss that it makes one indifferent even to Brahman realization. That is the characteristic of moksha laguta krita. In Baba Bhakti, a person considers even the moksha sukha to be indifferent. So one more anucheda, one more part, then we'll end. So somebody can repeat the shloka. Teva amushya vadana sita padma kosha.
ते वा अमुष्यवदना सितपद्मकोश
ते वा अमुष्यवदना सितपद्मकोशम्
ते वा अमुष्यवदना सितपद्मकोशम्
उद्वीक्ष्य सुन्दरतराधरकुन्दहासम्
उद्वीक्ष्य सुन्दरतराधरकुन्दहासम्
लब्धाशिष पुनरवेक्ष्य तदीयमङ्घ्री
लब्ध्याशिष पुनर्वेक्ष्य तदीयमग्री
द्वन्द्वं नकारुणमणिक्षयणं निदद्युः
द्वन्द्वं नखारुणमणिश्रयणं निदध्युः
So, Niriksha, after looking up the Lord's face, which appeared like the chalice of a blue lotus. Chalice means what? I think the inner portion. Uh, 1 minute. Chalice means
large cup or goblet. It is
I think the part of the lotus inner portion, I think. Teva amushya vadana sita padma kosham, asita padma kosham. So after looking at the Lord's face, which appeared like the chalice of a blue lotus, its beauty enhanced by his laughing lips. Sundara tara adara kunda hasam. Resembling the kunda flower. The sages certainly felt fulfilled. Labdashisha, they felt fulfilled. When they saw the beauty of the Lord's face. And then Punar Avekshya Tadiyam Angri. And then after seeing the Lord's face, then they saw the Lord's feet. They lowered their eyes and began to meditate on the Lord's lotus feet with the reddish ruby-like nails. Punar Avekshya Tadiyam Angri Dvandvam Nakaruna Manishrayanam Nidadyuh. First they saw the Lord's face, which was like the beautiful, like the chalice of a blue lotus flower. The Lord's face was beauty increased even by his smile which appeared, which was like a kunda flower. After seeing that, they became fulfilled, and then they lowered their heads and saw the lotus feet of the Lord. The lotus feet of the Lord was having a nakaruna manishrayanam nidadyuhu. There was a reddish ruby-like nails were there in the lotus face. So, harshakaritam sambramamaha dvabhyam. Two shlokas describe the reverence felt by the four Kumaras. Harshakaritam. Harshakaritam, by seeing the beauty of the Lord, they became so joyful. And what kind of reverence they exhibited? That is explained in two shlokas. Tevai kila vadanameva asita padma kosha. Ishat vikasitam nilambujam tam. The te va is mentioned. Te va, the shloka says that, but it's actually te vai. Why? Because of the, I think, vai has been made it as va based on certain rules of the poetry. Vai means certainly. Te vai amushya. Because of the rules of poetry, vai has become va. So vai means certainly, emphatic. The emphatic particle vai implies certainty. That means they certainly felt fulfilled. Te vai amushya. They certainly felt fulfilled. So the Lord's beautiful face appeared like the chalice of a blue lotus flower. Or in other words, like a slightly opened blue lotus. Slightly opened blue lotus. Ishad vikasitam nilambujam tam. And then ut urdvam vikshya. Urdvam vikshya labda manorataha santaha. By seeing the beauty of the Lord's face, labda manorataha, they felt fulfilled. The Kumaras looked up at his face and felt that their heart longing had been fulfilled. Then after seeing the face, naka eva, then they lowered their heads. Naka eva aruna manayas tesham shrayanam ashraya bhutam angri dvandvam punaravekshya ado drishtaya vikshya punarevam vikshya yugapat sarvanga lavanya grahana shaktehe paschan nidadyu chintayamasuhu yugapadeva katam idam sarvam pashyema yit utkantabhibhi sthayi bhava poshakam chintakyam bhavam apurityartah. Very beautiful. So they looked at the face of the Lord, and then they looked at the feet of the Lord. And then again they looked at the face of the Lord, and then they again looked at the feet of the Lord. So they were so caught up between seeing the different limbs of the Supreme Lord, face and the feet, they they went into a transcendental anxiety called as chinta. This is a particular kind of vyabhichari bhava. So the Kumaras looked up at his face and felt that their heart longing had been fulfilled. Then they lowered their gaze and looked down again at his lotus feet, which sheltered reddish ruby-like nails. And they looked again and again because they were unable to capture the loveliness of his whole body all at once. Yugapa Deva. At one time, they were not able to relish the entire body of the Lord. So therefore, Nidadyuhu, they started contemplating. They became contemplative. That means Chintaya Masuhu, they became thoughtful. That means they started thinking, how can we behold the whole body of the Lord simultaneously? This way they started thinking. So by these feelings of longing, they experienced the particular Vyabhichari Bhava, the ecstatic transitory emotion called Chinta, anxiousness at the non-fulfillment of one's heart longing. They wanted to release the entire body of the Lord at once, but they were unable to release the entire body of the Lord at once. Therefore, they went into anxiety because of not achieving the desired goal, their heart's longing, and which nourished their foundational and permanent disposition of love, Sthayi Bhava. So, Bhakti Rasa is a combination of 5 things. Sthayi Bhava is the main ingredient, the foundational disposition of love of a devotee towards the Lord. When the Sthayi Bhava is mixed with Vibhava, Anubhava, Vyabhichari Bhava and Sattvika Bhava, then a person tastes Bhakti Rasa. So Sthayi Bhava is nourished by these things. Just like Vyabhichari Bhava is like a transitory emotion. It comes for a short period, but it nourishes. Just like in a malpua, there is a black pepper is put. Black pepper is put in a small quantity. There will be just one black pepper in the entire malpua. But that one piece of black pepper, it nourishes the taste of the entire malpua. Similarly, the transitory emotion of chinta, it nourishes the sthayi bhava. So, when the Kumaras' hearts were thus imbued with love, their eyes enjoyed the beautiful, smiling lotus face of the Lord. So, they were trying to assimilate the Lord's beauty in all its fullness. Therefore, they shifted their gaze from his face to his beautiful lotus feet with its ruby-like nails. Again, they raised their eyes. Again, they raised their eyes and marveled at the sweetness of the Lord's face. Jiva Goswami says that Nidadyuhu, they contemplated. That means they exhibited a Vyabhichari Bhava called as Chinta, anxiousness. And what is this Vyabhichari Bhava called as Chinta? Rupa Goswami explains in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What is the definition of Chinta? Dhyanam Chinta Bhavet Ishtan Ap Anishtapi Nirmitam Shwasado Bhuleka Vaivanyo Nidrata Iha Vilapotapa Krishata Bashpa Dainya Dayopicha. So, when the thought becomes concentrated due to non-attainment of the heart's longing, or due to attainment of that which is undesired. 2 causes. You desire something, you didn't attain it. Or you attained that which is undesirable. Because of that, a person becomes very contemplative. A person becomes anxious. That is called as chinta. And when a person goes through this Vyabhichari Bhava Chinta, this is exhibited by symptoms such as a person taking a deep breath or a person lowers his head, a person starts scratching the earth. When Kardama Muni was about to leave home, Devahuti became anxious. She started scratching the earth. She exhibited chinta, and then she pleaded with Kardama Muni, please give me a son before leaving. And then a person also exhibits a change of bodily color, and one loses sleep, one starts mourning. So there is a loss of weight, loss of tears, and there is a depression. The loss of weight, and then tears and depression. These are the symptoms of chinta. So the Kumaras were not, they wanted to release the beauty, entire beauty of the Lord simultaneously. But they were unable to release the entire beauty of the Lord simultaneously. Therefore, they manifested the symptoms of chinta. Not being able to.
Prabhuji,
Huh?
Prabhuji, here for Kumaras, the Anubhava will be the Lord's beauty, no? Or the Lord's lotus feet.
Vibhava. Vibhava is the
With
Lord's beauty.
Lord's beauty. Okay.
Vibhava. So therefore, they manifested the symptoms of chinta. So Vishwanath Chakravarti further says that Labda Shisha, Kumaras felt blessed, implies that previously Brahma had told previously Kumara, may you get the darshan of Lord Narayana. Kumara and Narada had also blessed the Kumaras. May you get the darshan of Lord. So, because of their blessings, the Kumaras achieved the mercy of the Lord. So, Labda Shisha refers to that. Kumaras had previously been blessed by their father and by their brother Narada, who are both great devotees. So, they were able to receive the mercy of the Lord because of their blessings. In the Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami explains that generally the Lord does not bestow his mercy independently. Lord's mercy follows through the mercy of the devotees. Because Brahma and Narada had blessed Kumaras, therefore the Lord's mercy followed. Therefore, the Lord's Kumaras obtained the Lord's mercy. That is the significance of the word Labda Shisha given by Vishwanath Chakravarti. So in this way, this is a very beautiful shloka. Today we discussed three shlokas. How by the Lord's beauty, Lakshmi Devi's pride as the most beautiful woman got destroyed. And then we saw that the Kumaras offered obeisances to the form of the Lord, and they were not feeling completely satisfied. Atropasrishtam iti chotsmitam indiraya swanam diya virachitam bahusaushtavardyam. The shloka. And then the Tasyaravinda Nayanasya Padaravinda, the famous shloka, it explains the pinnacle of the Lord's beauty, that even the air which has which came in contact with the one of the object placed on the Lord's limb, that had the power to cause commotion in the mind as well as the limbs of the Kumaras, who are already situated in Brahman realization. So this shows that the happiness from bhakti is superior to the happiness from Brahmananda. And then the four Kumaras, and seeing that form of the Lord, which is beautiful like the chalice of a blue lotus flower, and the Lord's smile was increasing his beauty. The Kumaras looked at the Lord's lotus feet, and then they looked at the Lord's face. They wanted to relish the entire beauty of the Lord simultaneously, but they were unable to relish the entire beauty of the Lord. At that time, they became contemplative, they became anxious. In that way, they experienced the Vyabhichari Bhava called as Chinta. So, this is what we discussed today. We will continue next week. Anybody has any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
हाँ
Prabhuji, just one observation, not a question, that how Sridhar Swami and Jiva Goswami here explains about that what was the real pride. So how our acharyas they give different explanations. And
हम्म,
so I remember that when Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu they chastise the Lord. So
हम्म,
how our acharyas how there they give the different explanation that it is really the glorification of the Lord.
हम्म,
So I just remember that.
हाँ
And also there is one shloka in the third or second canto that Lakshmi Devi also becomes happy and pride that her face is being kissed by her husband.
हाँ yes
So there I remember that.
हम्म,
Yeah, yes, thank you.
हाँ, thank you bro. Because the Hiranyaksha was chastising, blaspheming Varahadev was actually blaspheming, but the Acharyas also interpret the shlokas as if it is a glorification, completely opposite. Here, there's just a different flavor. It's not a one explanation is that Lakshmi Devi's pride as the most beautiful woman was destroyed. Another explanation is that Lakshmi Devi manifested her pride as having the husband whose beauty excelled the beauty of millions of cupids. Uh, Lakshmi Devi manifested her pride. That way is different, slightly
So
different.
such a nice explanation there.
Mm. So there's a transcendental pride also. Pride, there's a spiritual pride to have the uh, opportunity to serve Krishna, to have the opportunity to be connected with Srila Prabhupada, to be connected with the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Uh, it's like there's a spiritual pride. So the material pride takes a person away from Krishna. In the material pride, a person is proud about one's own ability, one's own this one. But the spiritual pride, a person is proud not about oneself. A spiritual pride, a person is proud of the person whom he is connected to. He is proud of the person whose mercy he has received. That is the difference between material pride and spiritual pride. Uh, Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhu, thank you, Prabhu.
We will continue that next week. Hare Krishna. Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur